Well, it's been a while, but here we are with the Tides of Torment DLC, and so I'm back at it here again, recording some replays. This is going to be Kaiju on his beloved Slaanesh up against the Scarbrand on the Warriors of Chaos. Another Hellblaster volley, another Hell Cannon shot comes in. Let's go over the armies. So, of course, we have Kaiju on their wonderful Slaanesh, rocking an Exalted Keeper with the Seductive Glory, just for that Rampage ability there, and a Pit of Shades, Arcane Conduit, and that's about it. Didn't bring the ability that heals off of routing units. Interesting. But for the rest of the army, the good stuff, we've got the Pleasure Guard, Champions of Slaanesh. No surprise here, literally the best unit in my opinion for the Slaanesh side for the DLC. And they are, I mean, if you could look at their stat line and look how incredibly small they are for what is considered a large unit. That hitbox for a large size unit is insane. That means they're going to be dodging a lot of missiles and a lot of damage that they would another large target would normally take. Plus, on top of it, bronze shields as well. And then look at the stat line: 64, 67, 120 weapon strength. You guys don't need me to tell you how good these units are. You guys already know yourself. Devastating flanker, unyielding assault, physical resistance of 20%, then unbreakable on top of it. These guys are incredible. They're going to do really well, I believe, against Warriors of Chaos. Devoted Marauders of Slaanesh will be the front line as well. We've got 2 Seekers on each side, plus Hellstriders as well to deal with any of the potential Warriors of Chaos Cav or Skirmish Machine units. We also have some Skirmish Machine as well for the Slaanesh side, including the Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh, just not including the ROR variant, just the base variants this time. And then in the back, we do have the Devotees of Slaanesh, the 1100 crossbow units, which I'm not a super big fan of, but we'll see how they do. But at the moment, they are currently being targeted by the Hell Cannon and have taken substantial losses so far. But hopefully, they can get in the game and do some damage to make up for this Hell Cannon shots. These brutal Hell Cannon shots. For the Warriors of Chaos side, we do have Archaon, the Everchosen himself, going to be taking on the forces of Slaanesh. We have Marauder Bearman, the new Marauder Bearman, who look pretty okay. They have 32-35 stats with ITP and Rage, which is pretty nice. And bronze shields and decent leadership compared to the generic Marauders, who have a base leadership of 60, I believe. Yep. But we do have some Marauders with great weapons and a whole bunch of Marauder Bearmen, plus some Chaos Warriors with the Halberds in the backline. Just a classic box here from Scarbrand. Very, very little tight formation. Plus a Chaos Sorcerer of Death rocking the Buna and Spirit Leech, and a Forbidden Rod. Gonna be shorting that Forbidden Rod for some power reserves and recharge. Archaon just gonna be rocking Burning Head to hopefully deal with the lightly armored infantry of the Slaaneshian side. Do the Pleasure Guard have? No, they have 60. So, and plus their monstrous infantry, so they won't be dealt too much damage by the Burning Heads. We also have Aeos on the Fallen, going to be rocking that Gift of Mutation, giving that plus 8 melee attack bonus to nearby units, plus that Tides of Transformation Mortis Engine. And Maelstrom of Change will be pretty decent on potentially like Slamgors if Kaiju had brought them. Plus the Soul of Damnation ROR Hell Cannon continues shooting away at the Devotees of Slaanesh. I wonder if they'll even make it to the battlefield before they rout from the leadership penalties. Fate of Buna going down on the Seekers. Pretty good choice there. Going to be rocking those guys pretty quickly. The Exalted Keeper takes a charge in from Aeos on the Fallen and potentially Archaon, but the Pleasure Guard does come in there trying to surround the Aeos on the Fallen, and they are body blocking him quite a bit. So he's getting pretty stuck there. Archaon is going to be chasing him down. However, Devotees going to change their targets to potentially shoot at Archaon. Rampage going down to there, reducing their melee defense by 24 down to 36. That could be a pretty good fight there for Kaiju. We'll see. A massive Pit of Shades going down to the Marauders' great weapons, doing some pretty decent damage. Nothing too shabby though. the Seekers of Slaanesh do get on top of the Soul Damnation and absolutely tear the crew apart. They are holding on quite a bit, though, of course, as the crew is unbreakable, and now the Chaos Warriors of Halberds have surrounded the Seekers of Slaanesh and will be putting them into crumbling status or disintegrating status, and they are gone. The Lord of Marauders will be taking care of the Bearmen and the Marauders with great weapons, hopefully soon for them. Arcan has been completely surrounded by Host Riders, plus is taking a beating from the Exalted Keeper of Slaanesh as well, and not looking too great, especially with the help of the Pleasure Guard. I don't think Arcan might last too long, though he is very, very tough. Exalted Keeper does pack a punch, however. Aeson the Fallen can be clearing up some of this Slaanesh chaff from the Devoted Marauders, and that should help out with the infantry fight for the Warriors of Chaos, as the rest has not gone too great. Chaos Warriors potentially going to take a rear charge here from the Seekers, and they do, but it is fairly limp. Doesn't do a whole lot. The Chaos Warriors of Halberds trying to catch up and potentially surround and finish them off. A Burning Head going down there, doing a little bit of damage. Doesn't do too much against the Hellstride, but does provide that nice leadership penalty from Burnt. Maelstrom of Change going down there. As Aeson the Fallen comes to aid Archaon as he's been surrounded by the Seekers or the Hellstriders and the Pleasure Guard for a bit too long. Pit of Shades going down there, actually doing a little bit more damage to the Pleasure Guard than if anything. I don't know what the point of that Pit of Shades there. Pit of Shades was there. Could have gone on the broader Bearman and broader Great Weapons, but may have been a misclick or something. I'm not entirely sure. Totem Marauders coming in to help the Pleasure Guard. Aeson the Fallen taking quite a bit of a beating from the Zavotes. Let's see what those Zavotes have done in terms of value. I imagine not too much. 823 is nothing too bad to laugh at there. I mean, it's getting close to catching up to how costly they are. As the Marauder Horsemen are also getting some pretty decent damage value, I imagine, as they've gone pretty much free. I have been able to freely shoot the entire time. Rampage going down there with Seductive Glory on Aeson the Fallen. Going to give Exalted Keeper a nice little combat engagement there, as well as Arcan being caught in that Seductive Glory as well. He's doing pretty bad on the health pool wise, and Aeson's going to be taking another volley here potentially from Marauder Horseman, and potentially going to be going down here soon. At only 117 HP, they're going to be routing and potentially shattering at negative 25 leadership. Though we'll see, they'll probably just die before that happens, and there it goes, being crushed by the Devotees. Very nice value for them. The Pleasure Guard have been fighting the entire freaking time against Arcan and his Chaos Warriors after fighting against Aeson, and they are still alive at 5 models, still left 468 HP. A Spirit Leech going down on the Exalted Keeper, slowly trying to whittle them away as they don't have the regen from that ability, which gives them routing HP from routing units. Chaos Warriors taking big Pit of Shades there, as well as the Bearmen as well. Not doing too great. The Pit of Shades have been nerfed quite a bit, so the damage isn't fantastic, especially if it's not overcasted. But yeah, Pit of Shades is not great nowadays, in my opinion. But it did a little bit of damage, a little bit of chip. The Marauder Horsemen throwing their shots into the Archaon. Not the one and only Archaon, as if there's others. Chaos Warriors taking some shots as well, but it's not too much to worry about. Arcan might be able to come back here soon, as he is rallying at 6, or as his leadership is staying up positive at the very least. The Devotees, or the Pleasure Guard, continue to live at 5 freaking models. These guys are so hard to kill with how small their models are and just how incredibly tough they are. It's 67 base melee defense, -7 from Exhausted at the moment, but still, they took that charge there from the Marauder Bearman and still did not lose any models. This is looking fairly tight here. The Warriors of Chaos have tons of infantry left that I'm not entirely sure that the Slaanesh can take care of. The Devotees have quite a bit of HP, quite a bit of ammunition still left, rather at 5, but they still also have their melee defense, their melee attack capabilities as well, but only 35 models. Arcan does fall to those Devotees as they blast away at him with those crossbows. They primarily are base missile damage instead of AP, which is a bit strange considering CA kept them at armor piercing for their key tool here. So I don't know what's up there. I don't know why they did that. I also don't know why they gave them such low. They reduced their ammunition and buffed up the base weapon instead of base missile, instead of buffing up their AP and then reducing. It's a bit silly either way. Another Pit of Shades coming down here, doing some pretty decent damage this time on the Chaos Warriors, slowly chipping away at them, and I think that might be the key there for potentially saving this match, because otherwise they wouldn't have had much to deal with the infantry, the mass amount of Chaos Warriors. But that Pit of Shades definitely helped out tremendously there, and that's what I get for talking bad about them. Usually whenever I talk bad about something, it does decent in a match, or better than normal. The Exalted Keeper might actually fall here from this Spirit Leash down to 300, 212, 166. If the Spirit Leash doesn't kill him, the Demonic Sensibility will, and the Exalted Keeper does fall. Very, very close match here. The balance of power seems to think Slaanesh does not have it, and normally one would be inclined to agree, but the Chaos Warriors are very, very low here. This one's going to be rotting away. These other Chaos Warriors are rotting away as well. So all that's left are some Bearmen, the Chaos Sorcerer, who is being close to rotting as well with that 5 leadership, but he is hiding into the infantry at least. But nonetheless, the devotees are continuously getting some free shots into the Chaos Warriors as they slowly make their way to them. The Hellstrider is going to get a charge into them, but of course they are halberds, so they'll probably get more damage than they'll take, especially with that heavy armor, the heavy Chaos Warrior armor. The Soul of Damnation models, the infantry models, have come back, but there's only 2 left, and immediately are killed by the Marauder Horsemen. The Marauder Bearmen have come back, have gotten all their bonus from the Rage. I'm attempting to join in the fight here, taking out those devotees of Slaanesh in an infantry fight. The devotees pretty good in melee, but the issue is that they don't have that much of AP. They're not primarily AP in melee either. Though they have the bonus for infantry, they are still fighting Chaos Warriors who have base 100 armor, down to 75 luckily from Exhausted, but that's still not going to be enough, especially with the aid of Bearman and the Exhausted Sorcerer. So as close of a match that was, the infantry, the heavy infantry, the massive amount of infantry that was left for the Chaos Warriors of the Chaos side was too much. Despite that being a wonderful Pit of Shades there to help chip down that heavy armored warriors of the Warriors of Chaos, it still was not enough. It's 2479 here on the Exalted Keeper. Very, very good job. Though I imagined it definitely would have been worth taking that item to help replenish their HP, because they definitely needed some HP at that very end. If the Exalted Keeper could have stayed alive, I definitely think that could have been Slaanesh's game. But otherwise, there was just nothing that they could do against the massive amount of Chaos Warriors with halberds left. Beautiful job though at taking down Eos on the Fallen, and then Archaon immediately after that as well, or soon after that rather. Devoted Marauders did Devoted Marauder things. We did have the devotees get their value back, and 500 more on top of that at 1600 value essentially. I'm rounding up, but 64 kills. Finished off Archaon, got some pretty good damage value on Aeson. Not bad, but it's still extremely expensive. I'm not sure how worth it is but I imagine bringing 1 is okay, like Kaiju did here. We'll have to see. I mean, this is the 2nd day of the DLC, 3rd day as I'm recording this. So, maybe we'll see them a bit more and things will start to balance out. We'll see where they lie in the meta. But they did a pretty good job here. Very nice showing from Kaiju on those guys. Now, to be fair, the walk side did not shut them down quick enough. The Hell Cannon did get some pretty good shots on them early on, but they were in a very thin, like, pencil line formation, so they didn't take as much damage as if a more heavily dense packed unit would take. So, like, if say, I don't know, if you shot into, I guess the Seekers would do a little bit better job because they rely on the physical resistance, but at the same time, I understand it's that the devotees are better, pretty much the better target there. It's just the Hell Cannon, the impact doesn't spread a lot. It's more condensed, more like a more like a single. It's a single massive shot, which is just like condensed on a single area. So it's only going to hit 2 or 3, maybe 4 models at one time. But yeah, definitely they did pretty good despite those heavy impacts from the Hail Cannon. Seekers did okay-ish. They were pretty much hard countered by the halberds while Kaiju was busy focusing elsewhere. But they were able to shut down the Hail Cannon at the very least and keep it from shooting any longer, and in fact pretty much destroyed it right away. The Hellstriders, the Marauder Horsemen did fantastic, of course, because they had nothing really to challenge them. There was no mobility on the Warriors of Chaos side, aside from Scarbrand and the and Aeos on the Fallen, so they were pretty much free range to continue to shoot away as much as they wanted, which is obviously fantastic for them. They just had a field day the entire time, and where even despite they were able to use up all their ammo and still like charge into melee at the very end game as well. Obviously they're not great at melee, but still, especially against heavy armor, but still. 2034 here on the Pleasure Guard did fantastic, no surprise there. I mean, if anybody if any unit on this roster here could have potentially closed the game or won it for them, would have been the Pleasure Guard. Like the fact that they lasted so long despite the odds, despite the units that they were fighting against, despite how much was put into like trying to take them down. It's insane that they got racked up that much value still and were able to survive throughout practically in the entire game. It is insane. 2034 value. Such a good unit. Scarbrand with Archaon got 1125 value. Not too shabby. I'm not too sure about the dual casters there in this situation. Obviously the sorcerer did stay alive to the very end, was able to potentially keep the Chaos Warriors and Marauder Bearman in the fight because of his leadership aura. But I don't know, it feels like the Burning Head is kind of enough, and the Burning Head and Spirit Leech from Archaon are pretty much enough, it feels like. But it's fine, and nothing too bad about it. Did come in clutch with 1589 there from the Fate of Buna. That's pretty much, I imagine, why Scarbrand took it, was for the Fate of Buna, because the Fate of Buna pretty much incinerated the Seekers, because otherwise you would have to be catching up. Your only other way of dealing with them would be Aeson or the or Scarbrand. So just trying to potentially catch them out, because the Chaos Warriors are pretty much never going to catch them unless they got a lucky surround, unless they got a quick surround on them whenever they were on the Hail Cannon, which they did for a brief moment, but they were to get away. So definitely I understand why it was taken, because the Fate of Buna is really good there against Seekers. Marauder Bearman did fine, 100 kills here, picked up a Chevron, nothing too spectacular. They held the line and fought back against the devoted Marauders very easily. 395, 757, 664. Chaos Warrior Howards, if anything, they didn't pay for them. They didn't pay for themselves in like just damage value or anything like that, but they paid for themselves in the fact that their heavy armor, their extremely high leadership was able to just hold on for so long. They saved the freaking game there for the Warriors of Chaos and did such good work. I love to see it, honestly. I love to see some base generic Chaos Warriors winning the game against DLC units, against freaking Slaanesh. That is incredible. Like that, I love to see it. That's what we're talking about. A54 here on the Soul of Damnation. Not too bad there. I did pretty okay for how long it survived, because it got shut down very quickly. 2464 on Aeos on the Fallen as well. Aeos did pretty great there as well. Overall, fantastic match. I think Kaiju did a spectacular job shutting down the Hail Cannon particularly quickly. A very nice highlight play there from him, and just overall did incredibly well with his Exalted Keeper and keeping his devotees shooting at appropriate targets, and just good micro all around. Scarbrand did excellent as well with Aeos on the Fallen, using their appropriate abilities properly and sending them to the right engagements, though maybe let Scarbrand get caught out, unfortunately, and rather let Archaon get caught out and take way too much damage way too early on. Maybe a little bit too greedy at trying to snipe out the Exalted Keeper. But otherwise, great match. Love to get some Tides of Torment replays and start casting some more. I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.